committee, the committee that put this all together, because this summit has been so amazing. We went from planning a live in-person summit to going into a virtual summit, which, it wasn't something that was super easy. Most of us, I actually don't think any of us actually had experience putting on a virtual summit before. So there was a lot of research and a lot of time. And so the shout out that needs to be done is to the committee right now and to everyone, all the volunteers. But I'd like to really just let you guys know that the committee is so amazing. So amazing. Like, they're rock stars. They've put so much work into this, so many hours. There's so many times a week that, there'd be hour meetings. And I just can't tell you enough how thankful I am for them. And I'm so glad that the summit came to be. Like, I was worried, you never know during the COVID times if these things can continue. And so, just the work that they put in. So a huge shout out to everyone. And I'd like to immediately put Cindy on the spot because I know she wanted to say a few words. So, Cindy.
I really, whoops, suppose I could be a little more prepared here.
All right.
Sorry about that. Surprised me, Alex. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of our sponsors for this event, sponsors and partners for this event. Human Rights Coalition kind of got us started. They have performed in the role of foundational organization for this event for the last 3 years. A decision was made earlier this year to, in a sense, separate a little bit from North Dakota Human Rights Coalition. They are a fiscal sponsor for us at this point, but North Dakota LGBTQ+ Summit is an entity on its own as of this year, with a registered trade name with the state of North Dakota. The idea there being that this can continue on and grow independent of North Dakota Human Rights Coalition and be a wonderful thing all on its own. So super shout out to North Dakota Human Rights Coalition for being such an amazing partner. Magic City Equality is a fiscal sponsor for us, or financial, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say fiscal sponsor, financial sponsor for us this year. I'm just gonna go back to sponsor or partners again. Equality Federation, a new partner this year, the Trevor Project, and also the National Center for Lesbian Rights have been with us for the last couple of years. A new financial sponsor this year is Alpha Steed. And I just want to point out, because they're new, Alpha Steed, the mission of Alpha Steed is to partner with organizations and institutions to drive an advanced culture of full inclusion, systematically engineering bias management process and practices to impact equality in workplace, community, and public policy. That's a huge task to take on. But really having the vision to stop the extermination of Indigenous peoples and abolish the construct of race, that's a lot to take on. And I think that there's some amazing things that will come out of Alpha Steed in the future. I did mention Magic City Equality, Red River Rainbow Seniors as well, North Dakota Two-Spirit Society and Allies, Dakota Outright, and AARP of North Dakota have been great sponsors for us this year in terms of financially supporting this event and also helping to provide content. Some individual sponsors that I want to give a shout out to are Jan Jorgensen, also Dennis and Nels Richardson, and Jerry Even. So let's just clap all of them and say thank you for helping us make sure. One last one. Chaplains on Call and Emergency Response. They are an international nonprofit organization that helps send out help to troubled situations in communities across North Dakota and the United States. The other thing that I wanted to mention is something that is coming up shortly for Red River Rainbow Seniors. Let's see if I can screen share here. There we go. I think I'd be better at this because I do this every day. As I mentioned during the break, AARP has partnered with Red River Rainbow Seniors over the last couple of years in sponsoring some lounge and learn sessions where we meet once every quarter for a couple of hours to discuss something that's important to our community. And the reason that I wanted to reach out with this one, these sessions are not just for queer seniors across the state, but they're topics that of interest to everybody. But the one coming up is of particular interest, given everything that's happened over the last 6 to 9 months. This one is about social justice and racial equality. A little bit difficult to see there. I will post the link in the chat, but you can join on, oops, now it's not going to do it. There you go. You can join on Zoom, and I'll put the Zoom meeting and the passcode. That's October 20th. That's on a Tuesday from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And that's really all I've got to share. But thank you all so much for attending the summit. This has been a wonderful experience with a lot of valuable information.
Thanks, Cindy. So before Barry is going to be talking, I just also wanted to tell everyone to thank you for coming here, for registration. Our registrar, Linda, has been amazing. Yeah, thank you for clapping your hands for her. She's amazing. And thank you all for coming, because it's not easy sitting at a computer for 3 days, basically. Just, it's not easy. So thank you all for being a part of this, and, just being a part of our community. Like, we're all from different parts of the state. This is our chance to come together. This is our chance to really grow together, because, we've adapted to so much, whether it's from, going from in-person to virtual. Like, this is an adaptation that we've had to conquer, basically, and we have, because we're all here, we're all a part of this, and we're all just proving that, how strong we are as a community, as a united front. So I just have to, thank you, everyone. So now I'm gonna let Barry talk. He's way better at this than I am. So Barry.
Alex, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not going to be talking, I'm going to be facilitating. So hopefully this will be a group combination. But before I do that, Alex, I have to you did a great job of thanking the committee, and I agree with that. This was a fantastic committee that started working really shortly after the last summit ended last October. Continued working continuously throughout. But really, the key person in all this, Alex, is you. So a big shout out to Alex Johnson, the coordinator for this summit this year. Yes, let's do all kinds of signals of approval. I asked Alex if he would assume the role of coordinator last winter, and I couldn't argue with him considering that, how much time would be involved and how much time he would have, and all the different things he had on his plate. Those are things I would not try to talk somebody into knowing what kinds of things that are going on there. The one thing I could argue with him on was him saying, well, I'm not sure if I'm really capable or competent of doing this. Now that, and we can all say right now, that was an arguable point because Alex has brought a great sense of organizing to this, certainly persistence, capabilities of visiting with all kinds of people, helping them work together. And I've seen him just take huge leaps, even as much of a baseline of experience he had in moving into this. And thank God when this moved into virtual that Alex was there, because this was not in my wheelhouse at all. And so between Alex and Cindy, Cindy is this wizard about electronics. So we had a great crew to make this work on every end. So again, Alex, take a bow, and you done good. So, given that, here we are. We're at the close of the third annual summit. Much different in look and feel, perhaps. Emphasize the theme for this year: embrace your power. My hope for all of you who participated, who presented, who facilitated, I know you brought your power game to this summit, and I'm hoping you're taking away a renewed sense of power. The power of you personally, and then the incredible power of being amongst this group. I don't think there is anything that can limit what this group, with the passion, the lived experience, and now the new connections or renewing connections, can do going forward. I love personally, I am talking. I'm sorry, Alex. But I was so impressed with all the presentations that it not only provided, every presenter provided their knowledge, their information, but they also left with, here are things that we can do. Here are things identified that we can do going forward. We all can celebrate the wonderful things we have, but we all recognize that great change needs to happen. It needs to happen in terms of our ability to live full and vibrant lives, to be recognized, to have dignity, to have safety. This is not here yet, and we need to work diligently on doing that. And we were given lots and lots of tools to do that as we gathered these last 2.5 days. So I'm going to ask you to think about some things as we're thinking about. First of all, let's just, and we have our chat room, and I think maybe because we've got 31 people in the room right now, I mean, I do want to hear from as many people as possible. So as I'm asking these questions, if you could maybe put them down in the chat room as you hear them. But so let's first of all, and we aren't doing a written evaluation this year, so we're going to make this session also an evaluation of what happened this weekend and going forward. So make this an evaluation as much as a plan going forward. And then I think we'll close with announcements. Make sure that anybody has other announcements to make to the group, such as Cindy did in the onset, would be allowed to do that. So first of all, hey, what do you think about this virtual summit? How did this virtual summit work for you? We all, myself included, complained about not being in person, not sitting around the bar to close the day at the inn in Mandan. But how did this work? Put down some thoughts about how you felt this virtual version of getting together under a summit worked for you. First comment, Alex, affirmed what you were hoping, that people who normally wouldn't come would show up to this. So thanks, Kip. Oh, that's a beautiful sentiment. I met more people this way than I did last year. That's huge.
It's
Rather
definitely
than
a plus not having to fly.
what's that?
It's definitely a plus not having to fly here. I know
Yeah,
Megan said that.
right. Wondering about doing a hybrid.
I will say that one thing we definitely will have to do every year is make sure everything's filmed so we can have utilize our YouTube channel. Because like I said, all the breakout sessions that we have recorded are going to be on our YouTube channel. And if we can just utilize that every year and keep it going, there's so much material every year that can be added.
Well, and here's a sad commentary, Alex, is that most of the sessions last year were recorded as well. The major lack of follow through there was that the films weren't put somewhere where then people would have access. So the thoughtfulness you gave to the fact that it's not going to just be recorded, but then put in a place quickly where people can access them is huge. But yeah. Yeah, lunch yesterday where everybody started pulling their pets up in front of the camera that's fantastic.
They did that again at bingo.
Oh, wonderful.
Surprised it didn't happen today.
Well, and that's, if you have any particular comments about, I know a lot of thought went into this on the part of the committee, both with the Icebreaker app and Bingo. I mean, the idea of can you be creative, creating that network, having fun together, was delightful. So Sarah's cat, she was being very creative. That, specifically to talk about how Icebreaker worked for you. I'm assuming that that's part of the reason why people were able to meet more people was through the Icebreaker app. I had to miss bingo. Wasn't there going to be a special guest last night? Can you reveal who that was for those who weren't able to attend?
Dude, James, Sarah.
We had the one and only VJ Arwani come last night for bingo.
Oh,
He's
We
been
had-
And I can confirm the fact that he has now been fired from ever hosting bingo ever again due to attention span and the inability for him to really be able to let loose. He was quite stiff and
Yeah,
not very entertaining at all.
a gay old time was had by all, especially VJ.
I'm sorry I missed bingo, but I was at 9 to 5. I was still gaying it up.
You mentioned the icebreaker. I really think we should get some kind of meeting set up every month where everyone that's a part of, the LGBTQ community can just get together on a Zoom link. And I mean, we can always do icebreakers. We can just have conversations because I noticed a lot of people during the breaks when we were having those really awesome conversations. It was just something that we needed, I think. And I think that would be a really good idea if we can coordinate and maybe have that happen at least once a month, because then it's not just once a year we're all meeting. We're actually meeting once a month. We're, starting.
Well, even not, I mean, Aaron really hit it on the head with the fact that there are some that feel isolated, but even without COVID, even without what we're doing, I mean, this is the conversations were had, I think, just because we're just all there and you're just like, oh, okay, well, what's
And
everybody
it's
up to?
also a great idea
You know?
too, because like, some people are here from California and some people are across the state from us, and we all can't always meet locally, obviously. So it's a great way for us all to stay in contact besides the Facebook page.
And connection means inclusion, which also means that ideas can spread quicker. I mean, just even having, Erica Thunder, just, listening in and being able to, just have leadership in our community, having Andrea on the call as well, just having, different entities from all over the state as well as all over the nation. And, I think Kip also, I wouldn't have come otherwise. But just having that bridge and being honest with each other and just creating that safe space of honesty so that by the time we do get to the summit, we again have that safe space with each other, that to be real, to be raw. I mean, like Ming with the Trevor Project had said, there's not always the greatest conversations, but sometimes the best ideas come out of the fact you have to have those tough conversations.
Well, not only that too, but if we stay in contact, we'll be more socialized. And so by next summit, we won't have to do as hardcore of icebreakers, or we'll come up with better ideas for icebreakers, or it'll be a more inviting space for new people.
Great, wonderful. So having done those kinds of evaluative things, and continue to certainly post things in the chat room, but I'm going to move us into the second question, and I'm going to ask you to be, this is the going forward action items. So what are, and we were just kind of talking about this, but what is the connection that you made at this summit with a person or an organization that you will follow up on? How are you going to be intentional about following up with connections you made with an individual or an organization? And feel free to be as specific as you can. The best laid plans, are like, well, by Tuesday of next week, I will be fill in the line, or I intend to make sure that I contact such and so at this organization to get more information about what they do, or I will contact Faye Seiler with all my suggestions for resources for the resource book she's putting together, or whatever those would be. Beautiful, Ming. That's wonderful. A national local connection. Andrea, fantastic. Mark, I do want to give a shout out. YouthWorks has been a wonderful participant in these summits all 3 years. And actually, Troy, Ming, I think you were a part of that, and Keegan met with YouthWorks staff in Bismarck leading up to the summit last year.
Yep, last year, just before it, I was a part of that too. It's really good. I just have to say, we always find ourselves as an agency feeling like we don't do enough. So as much as we can be a part of this, or if anyone's ever working on a project and they're kind of stuck, don't forget us.
It's an incredible resource in our state. So I appreciate the partnership there.
One thing that I will continue to do, and I know I make fun of BJ all the time because, you know, I keep him in the closet. he's, he's not always the greatest. But as Sarah, and trying to have that disconnect, but seriously, the drag shows, if there's one thing that I did kind of mention is the fact that at every single drag show for the last couple, we've had the NAACP there with our local Human Rights Coalition people. And it's cool to see the fact that they're about halfway through their needed membership for getting a chapter of the NAACP, because North Dakota and Rhode Island are the only two states without an NAACP chapter. So they're halfway there. And what's cool is like getting that word out through the drag shows. And I know that it's like only 100 tickets and all that jazz, but still it's growing. And one thing that I keep telling everyone, and I'll challenge this group as well, if you have something coming up and you're having an issue with a drag show, like having a second of being like, hey, maybe we could put some stuff out. I've always said at the drag shows, I will always put stuff on the table. I will put stuff on my Facebook. I will put stuff in the group. But again, challenge your networks of even your entertainment. I know that some of you may not, there might be people who are like, drag shows, we don't have, it's a networking point. And anybody who's in any type of business, just even if it sounds super, super out there, you'd be surprised at how much information is actually exchanged at every single one of those drag shows about what's going on. We have performers from all over, from 3 different states that come to the shows up in Grand Forks. So that's kind of how I hear about stuff before it even hits the Grand Forks area sometimes. So again.
Good. Thanks, Sarah.
Hmm?
I'd say another, I love how we're hitting on working really intentionally with law enforcement around the state. Linda, I love your comment here about working within the ELCA about a statement on anti-conversion therapy. So involving, engaging our faith community. That's fantastic. Another comment about conversion therapy, that building that awareness. Certainly, I would attribute my own awareness to last year's summit. I really wasn't paying attention to conversion therapy until Troy and Keegan came to the state and shared that about me. So more about working on ending conversion therapy. We keep promising this. Are we? And put you on the spot, Alex, but we have some information to be sent out to the summit attendees. Did you get that in your inbox, Alex?
Yeah, I believe Linda sent it last night or last night? So everybody should have gotten it from the Network for Good.
Okay.
It was sent out late yesterday afternoon.
Thanks, Linda, or Mary Lee. Good. That's very time limited. Comments to the National Board of Social Work Examiners, they're receiving them until November 9th. So that's one very, very specific thing everybody in this room should do.
Just as a quick side note, I'm really happy you came here today, Erica. I really appreciate it. I did not know that you are a commissioner, so it's really a wonderful feeling to have a Native presence in there, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Michaela, thank you. Putting out a plug here for people who would be interested in mentoring youth through YouthWorks.
Yes, yep.
So Michaela, you're with YouthWorks as well?
Yes, I am the Youth Cultural Achievement Program Coordinator, along with Marquita, who is still on. Yep, we both co-coordinate the YCAP program at YouthWorks in Bismarck.
Excellent, thank you. Again, I love all YouthWorks people joining the summit. They've been a wonderful participant since the very beginning. Faye, thank you for putting that resource up there. It's been so great having you with us this year, Faye.
I second that, Faye. It's so awesome to have you with us.
All right, I'm going to pose question number 3. Continue thinking, jotting down, posting. Oh, I like the background you have, Erin. Looks like you're sitting in a forest somewhere.
That's my front yard.
Wonderful. Question 3. So, considering everything, what did you learn at the summit this weekend that you can use in the coming year, or that you want to keep learning more about? So how are you going to be applying? What did you learn? How are you going to apply it? And what knowledge gaps have you identified? Oh, deep canvassing. Thank you, Larry. Excellent. Michelle, looking for fair housing testers, and you have a contact info there, don't you? Yep. People can get a hold of you. And if I remember correctly, Michelle, these are actually paid positions, correct?
Yes, they are paid positions.
Because we get a lot of plugs for volunteers. Law enforcement comes up again. That's we have a wonderful resource in Andrea Knoll. I think that was the most highly rated presentation breakout session last year, and so glad to have you back again this year, Andrea. Oh, that's an interesting, good guidance on how to find common values with people that oppose our viewpoints. That's going to be a lifetime goal of mine. I'm not even close. Larry, developing affinity groups. There's no reason, and I think, Alex, you talked about this already, there's no reason why we need to wait a year to come together as people of common cause. And you know, I'll have to say, if there is something good that has come out of COVID is Zoom, GoToMeeting. I think the first summit we talked about how can we stay connected as a group, and we were talking, emails or a Facebook page or whatever. It really didn't really take off. But suddenly we're used to connecting with people in varying levels of groups and through Zoom. I'll give you a couple more minutes. I really think that this is our biggest challenge, is to, as much as networking and finding mutual support is so important, is that what are we going to change as a result of coming together, of being very specific. And I think one of the things that was really clearly identified this fall, that without the summit and people self-identify with each other, that the ability of LGBTQ plus groups and allies were able to come together really quickly to respond when the information came out about the very anti-homophobic platform and the GOP platform was publicized. And Erin, kudos to you. You put the call out and boom, I think we had 14 groups signing on, and we know that timing is everything.
Well, actually, I think there was more than that. It was closer to 20. So yeah, I was super excited to have that quick response. And I think that's all because of the summit and the work we've been doing to work together. Our organizations, I think, we're definitely learning how to work collaboratively. And for that, I will always be thankful for the summit. So, and thank you to everyone who responded to my call, I guess.
Faye, I appreciate your comment of saying that law enforcement isn't just the police department of the broader criminal justice setting, especially for trans inmates. Thank you. I will just put in a couple things that are in the works that I would, we talked about responding to the North Dakota Board of Social Work examiners on their attempts to insert anti-conversion therapy in their regulations. There is a work group not ready for open publicity yet, but it's in the works of getting hate crimes passed at the city and state level. So watch for announcements coming from that. And if this is something that you are interested in, that would be something that will certainly be all hands on deck when that comes forward. All right. Okay, it's slowed down. So as a finale, we have not a finale, but just for this segment. So we have 29 individuals. I'm going to ask each of you if you could come up with one or two words that are describing how you feel at this moment in time at the close of the 2020 LGBTQ plus summit. And I don't know if I'll keep count, but I'll be looking for, as all of you, to put down a word or two words.
It's an emotion.
All right. I'm going to reflect back. I heard Vivian in her opening on yesterday morning, possibly, where she used the term that how are we building space together? I love that, and I think it's so appropriate because we oftentimes think of space as being physically in the same room together. And now we're having to redefine what our space is. But the fact that we are intentionally, very much intentionally and thoughtfully figuring out how we build this space, not only in that room, but in our spatial room, in our electronic room, in our virtual room. And now we have all these added tools of how we keep building this space going forward. Let us use that building space to make sure it never restricts, but it keeps building and expanding. I think one of the challenges we have as we grow our group is making sure, and I heard a reference made to that, is how do we make sure we invite new people into this group? And some of us have gotten to know each other really well, and we don't want to make that familiarity feel exclusive to anybody else. So we want to just keep building and growing this group going forward. So the one thing I didn't see on this, but I'm gonna say is I got my ballot 2 days ago, and so what's really important right now is to vote. And first of all, make sure you know who you're supporting and voting for. And that, I mean, that's the only way we're going to change things at the state level or locally, is to vote for people who believe in our values and who are on our side of the issues. So let them know that you're watching them, that you're paying attention to them, and that you'll either vote for them if they're on the right side, or you're going to vote for their opponent who does. With that, we have I'm just going to open up for a little final announcements. If anybody feels there's something for the good of the group, I did want to put out there that North Dakota Human Rights Coalition is hosting their 11th annual Human Rights Summit on November 14th. That's a Saturday. And guess what? It's going to be virtual. But the plan this year is it's probably going to be shorter. We normally have a full day for the summit. This year it's going to be a shorter time, but it'll be exclusively focused on the upcoming North Dakota legislative session, which will convene early January, usually right after the 1st. So getting ready for that. I also want to say that we will be again hiring a human rights or a human rights coordinator who will be at the legislative session, making sure nothing gets snuck past us. So anybody else that would have announcements for the good of the group?
Barry, what's the date of the NDHRC event?
November 14th. Let's make sure I'm right. That's a Saturday, isn't it? Okay.
Barry, will you provide us links for registration for that in the Facebook group, or send it out to us somehow so we can log?
Yeah, we're way behind the ball on this one, so it'll be coming out soon. Thank you.
I don't really have an announcement so much as just general gratitude and appreciation for seeing all of your faces. I think a lot of us can agree it's been a tough year, and I've always looked forward to the summits, at least the last couple of years, because it's always been kind of a weekend of rejuvenation and renewal of energy. And it's been a particularly tough year for me, trying to balance a lot of different things. And so I just my deepest gratitude to everybody who planned this summit this year. I know the amount of work that goes into it. You all are amazing, and thank you for persevering and bringing us the space. And even if we only get to see each other through cameras, that's, it's still something that makes me feel better and helps me with my advocacy for the year. So I'm hoping we'll be able to see each other next year, maybe give each other hugs, because I miss those. But yeah, I just overall deep gratitude for everybody here and for the organizers. Thank you.
To echo what Erin said, thank you, everybody. I did put in the comment section Dakota Outright, our meetings are open to the public. We do have a board meeting coming up on October 12th at 7 p.m. Central Time. Q Talk, which is the all ages peer support group, that's going to be at 7 p.m. on the 21st. And we have an events committee meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. on Zoom. If you would like the link or the Zoom invite for that, I can certainly send that out. All the meetings are open to the public, or if you or you know anybody who wants to join in on those, to listen, to offer suggestions, or just to be a part of whatever, or just to watch, you're perfectly welcome.
I don't know how we do this, but it would be nice to have a virtual hug for everybody.
Oh, Larry, I miss seeing you at the co-op once a week. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
sorry, that's a sad note to end on.
Can I just add, I'm just so grateful to be able to join from California and still feel connected. I mean, I'm glad I got to be there in person so I could remember all of the folks that I've met in person, but this virtual summit has been a fantastic way to remember all these connections. So thanks.
I think we're all in unison, Ming, between you, Troy, Keegan, and of course now Sam, and the fact that everybody got to meet Sam this round, and Edie and Erica, like all of these amazing speakers. Andrea was there last year. I know Erica was new, Edie was newer, and then Viv and like all of them. When you come to these summits, especially in North Dakota, you leave as family. It's just not even a choice. Just it's kind of what happens. We get you with our hearts, and then we like hook you with the food. It's just it's a thing. So yeah, I think as the summit continues to grow, it'll be interesting to see how we bring back the keynote speakers we've had from before. And then of course, as we add more, like how many keynote speakers will be like, can I come too? It's gonna be fun as usual.
You always do get joiners too. I love it.
Alex, can I ask you? I'm just thinking about this. All the comments that went into the chat room. Is there a way to save that?
Yeah, I believe it is saved.
Okay. Wow, because that's a lot of. There's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, I'll get a thing.
There's like if you open up the chat, there's 3 little dots, and if you click on that, it says save chat. So if that helps.
Oh, thank you.
That way you can save it to your document file.
Mhm.
Thank you.
There you go. So if anybody's looking to save the links that are in there from this session, just save the chat and you'll have them.
Of course, and all of the fabulous banter that's been happening all weekend.
So last night we took a group picture with our cat or a pet show and tell, and I'm wondering if we could try to do something like that now. I mean, we don't have pets or whatever, but if people would be willing to do a group picture, if you could get on video, if you're not, if you want, so we could do a group picture maybe, just to capture whoever's left at the end of the day. Cindy, did you take the picture? Would you be willing to do that again? I just think it'd be fun to have it. Or everyone can veto me too, or it's totally fine. I won't be offended.
As long as we say when we're taking the picture. or are we supposed to go grab our pet right now? I don't know.
I mean, if they're near and you want to, but I don't think we need to. Although we do have a representation. Oh, cute little ears, Dougie.
Oh, Michaela.
So I would say like maybe Cindy, just let us know when you're ready to snap and we'll smile or do whatever we want to do.
Okay, I'm going to count down from 5. Oh, wait a minute. Dang it.
Dag nabbit.
Hang on.
Don't go anywhere.
There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Screenshot. Okay. Okay.
Fantastic. Thanks. That was a great idea. Alex, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay. Well, that mostly concludes the summit this year. We do have our book and movie discussion tonight at 5, if anybody would like. We do have, I'm going to leave the room open until then. So if anybody wants to stay and chat, please also, that call to action, please take that, please take that and go with it. I encourage you to take that action. And then, I mean, just as you leave the summit, just take everything you learned, take all the experiences, all the connections you've made, and just allow it to grow, allow it to grow inside of you, because you're going to reach out to other communities, and please do. Please help smaller communities grow. Like what we do is, we just got to lift everyone up. We got to lift each other up, and we got to grow together. So just please keep that in mind. There are so many small communities that are trying to get stuff going. And I mean, I feel like it's so important to get involved with them. Reach out to them, reach out to communities you don't know that there's anybody even a part of there. Just reach out, I think that's going to be like our biggest part about growing and, helping other smaller communities. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for coming. Thank you for just being you.
Looking forward to the book sharing.
Yeah. I only have my books here, so I need to find books.
On break, I don't know if you can see this, but I pulled a lot of books off of the shelf. So it might be overkill. But
Thank you, because all my books are in storage, except for my books that I have in my office that are mine, so I don't really want to share those because. But
everybody knows he's a published author, right? That's
okay. I'll show real quick.
Okay.
Just out of excitement.
Alex, I think you've earned the right to just give a plug. Okay.
Well, this book, Shadow in the Light, was an finalist in the International Book Awards for the LGBT category. And then this book, which is giant, just came out on Friday. So, yeah, there. That's it. That's all you get.
Congratulations.
Yes.
It's on order.
Good. You better read it and review it.
Super.
Now, where can we order your books, Alex?
So this one you can order anywhere right now. It's on iTunes, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere. This one came out on Friday, but I've noticed it's harder to find because it's not, for some reason, it's not live. They said because of COVID, it's taking a little bit more time for like the ebook and all that to be live. But I got it on Amazon, and I got it before they gave me my copy. I don't even have my official author copy yet, but Amazon sent it to me right away. But that's the quickest way to get it right now. It'll be an ebook very shortly. Once it goes, or once, I don't know what causes it to go live, but it's technically live. It's just taking a little bit of time.